This bike might be the best all-around fixed gear out there right now. There's one thing that surprised me about it. Jackson here. It's been a little while. Decided to take a little bit of a break from posting on YouTube. Last year I came out with a documentary called The Whale-a-thon. And after that, I just didn't really feel like posting videos all the time. So I've been out riding my bike, running. I'm really excited to come back, especially with this video, because this bike is very near and dear to my heart. I've been riding the Courttek for over 2 years now, and it's become one of my favorite bikes in the quiver. Now, I don't think this bike is totally for everyone, but I do think it's a great all-arounder, such a fun trick track bike, and I've really enjoyed riding it over the last 2 years. Full disclosure, I am friends with the owner of Master Bike Co. The fixed gear community is very, very small, but I would not give any opinions that were false. I truly believe in the Courttek. So Master Bike Co. is doing a pre-order for the Courttek. It closes on September 28th, and once that's done, it's done. And it's been 2 years since the last drop. I imagine that if they decide to do another drop, it'll be multiple years from now. So if you're interested at all in getting into trick track, I would definitely recommend ordering this frame. I'll talk a little bit about some of the differences between the Gen 1 frame and the new Gen frame. Check out all of the new colorways, masterbike.co. If you want to see the new Courttek in action, gonna drop a video on Wednesday, September 24th with the one and only Jacob Brutch, filmed by 84 Kick, which 84 Kick also has another really sick video on SMC. I'll link it in the description. You're gonna want to see both these incredible riders on the Master Bike Co team. Check it out. Now, the Courttek is a great option for light trick track on a 700C build, but if you're looking to go more heavy duty, you want to go 26-inch, thinking about pegs, then I definitely got to recommend my sponsor, Ruff Bike Co. Ruff Bike Co. came out with the Glimmer frame set last year, and it is incredible. It is super responsive, durable. It's the most fun I've ever had on a fixed gear freestyle bike, and you can get it now. There's actually a FOAD collab graphic, which I'm really excited about. Go check it out, Ruff Bike Co. So let's talk about first impressions. When I first got the Courttek, I have the J-Ball edition in a size large, and I'm 6'1", and when I first got the bike, I kind of felt like it was a little too big, but I'm actually really glad that I have this size, and I think it just took a little bit of getting used to. When I first tried this bike, I was used to a smaller fixed gear freestyle bike that was easier to whip around. And I think that the Courttek's geometry can just feel a little bit bigger. And for me, I was sort of on that cusp between large and medium. And I am really glad that I went with the large because it makes for a really good, just all-around riding bike. Like, it's really comfortable just to ride around on. I was kind of worried that I wasn't going to be able to do really freestyle type tricks besides keo spins and big spins, but after I got used to the geometry, it was really easy to ride. One of the things that I think makes the Courttek feel a little bit bigger is that it has a slightly longer top tube. And what that does is it helps with pedal overlap. So when you're turning really sharply or you're throwing a bar spin, you don't hit your toes. It's really easy to throw a bar spin with 700C with really big tires. I would not trade that for a shorter top tube. And once I got used to it, it really wasn't an issue. The other thing that took a second to get used to on this bike is it's got a relatively flat top tube, which I totally appreciate for aesthetic reasons. I think it looks like a traditional fixed gear, but if you aren't running your seat post very high and you're doing bunny hop tricks, you might not be able to maneuver around on the bike as easily if that was a more sloped top tube. So that is one thing to keep in mind. One of the things that's cool about the new version of the Courttek is they're adding 2 new sizes. The sizes all stay the same, so the new large is the same as this large, but they now have an XL and an extra small, which for those bigger or smaller riders could definitely be a huge benefit. One of my favorite things about the Courttek is just how versatile it is. Depending on what parts you put on it, you can really make this thing a fixed gear freestyle trick machine or a commuter or a track lacrosse bike. It's just so versatile in how you can set it up. The Courttek has great tire clearance. I've run 42s on this and had even a little bit of wheel wobble, and it still worked just fine. One of the things that I love about this bike is the cutout in the seat tube. It is not only just really cool aesthetically, but it helps keep that fat tire clearance while keeping the rear end short, which helps with all of that responsive handling. This bike could be a great track lacrosse bike. In fact, I've raced a track lacrosse race on it and had a ton of fun. And one of the things that I appreciate about the Courttek is that responsive handling shows up in no matter how you set it up. There are some other big tire clearance track lacrosse specific bikes, and one of my pet peeves with those frames is they typically have a longer rear end, maybe a less steep head tube, and it just makes the handling overall pretty vague, which could be beneficial if you're doing like super steep rocky downhills. It's going to help you get over some of those bumps. But honestly, you're probably not going to be doing that on a track lacrosse bike. So I'd much rather have a bike that feels super responsive, can fit fat tires on it. I took the Courttek to Moab, Utah and rode it on the White Rim Trail. I had a ton of fun on this bike. I wanted to build this thing up as a great all-arounder. I wanted to keep some of those traditional track aesthetics, hence the arrow spoke on there, which is currently broken. I broke it like last year. I've still been riding it. I'm hoping that it's not just gonna catastrophically fail. I did film some of me breaking it in a video that I've been working on called Nowhere Fast, Somewhere Slow. I'm really excited to release it. I'm thinking of it as sort of a short form, full length video. Think Good Times or Last Try, but condensed, shorter, and pretty much all on this bike. 2 years I've been working on this film, so I'm excited to release it. I've got a few clips that I want to get before I put it out, and it should be a good time, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. So the full spec and part list, I'm not going to go into that in detail in this video. I do have an older video of when I built it up where I go over all that info. I'll link to it in the description. Also have a bike check from Chase Davis with his Courttek build, so you can kind of see how I built it versus him and see really how versatile this bike is. Long-term durability. Now look, my Courttek has some dents, it's got some scratches. I've really put it through its paces, but I haven't had any issues with bending or cracking, which for a fixed gear bike is pretty incredible. Fixed gears are hard to do tricks on, and you throw them around in really awkward ways. The tubes are really long and things are just bound to break. So there is definitely some risk in doing tricks on a fixed gear. I've put this frame through a ton of impact. I've broken myself doing tricks on this bike, and it's been incredible. I've had no issues. I have a few dents, but that's to be expected when you throw your bike on the corner of a ledge. Master Bike Co. is a rider-owned company, and they put a ton of thought and engineering into this bike. Honestly, if I broke this frame tomorrow, I wouldn't be sad. I would have felt like I would have gotten a ton of riding out of it, and I've really put it through its paces. There is one downside to the Courttek, and for me, it's not an issue, but if you were a commuter riding this bike every day, it's missing a few features. It doesn't have any water bottle bosses, and it has no brake mounts. So if you were someone who wanted to rig this thing up, it would be a little bit harder to do. The new version of the frame has the option to add brake tabs, which is nice for anybody who wants to be able to run brakes on this bike. That being said, there's still no water bottle or anything other mounts. For me, I love the classic clean look, but that might be an issue for somebody out there. Maybe not the best touring rig, although I would love to see somebody make this into a touring bike. That would be so sick. One thing I really like about this version of the Courttek that didn't make it to the new one is the external headset cups. I love throwing a Chris King on there, and it is a little bit more expensive to run the external cups and kind of a pain in the butt in installation, but it just gives it that like really classic fixed gear track vibe. So in terms of comparing the Courttek against other frames, there really is no direct comparison because no one else is making a trick track frame right now. So you're either gonna go more fixed gear freestyle like the Ruff Bike Co, or you're going to go more traditional track bike or track lacrosse bike. Even though I'm a little bit sad that the new version doesn't have an external headset cup, it does come with an integrated headset and a seat post collar, which adds a little bit of value. There are a lot of custom details on this frame that I do think make it a little bit more expensive. For one, it has a gusset on the top tube for extra strength. It has the cutout in the seat stay so you can get that extra short rear end. And then it also has the chainstay yoke on the drive side so that you can still run a big chainring and have tons of tire clearance. One thing that is really important about the Courttek and makes it different from other frames is that it's heat treated, which makes it much stronger for doing tricks. The tubing is nice on this frame as well, and some of it is really custom. That down tube is this beautiful like teardrop shape. It's incredibly hard to capture on camera, but in person it looks incredible. The thing that surprised me the most about the Courttek is not how good it would be for tricking, but how much I would really love to just ride this bike around. Anytime I'm going out for an alley cat or a group ride, I end up grabbing this bike because it's just so much fun. Not only can I do casual tricks on it, but it's an incredibly fast, nimble bike. And despite having a big, clunky, broken arrow spoke on it, it's incredibly quick. I've ridden it in alley cats, I've podiumed in alley cats, and I have fun every single time I ride it. I love that I can do wheelies, hop up curbs, and for me, the Courttek really embodies the whole reason that I got into fixed gear in the first place. It's a bike that's simple, it's fast, it's durable, and I have a ton of fun every time I ride it. That is my long-term review of the Courttek. It is an incredible bike. I would get it over and over again. It's one of my favorite all-time builds. I'm really excited that there are companies like Master Bike Co. and Ruff Bike Co. that are keeping the fixed gear freestyle scene alive. Again, pre-orders end September 28th. So I don't know if or when Master Bike Co. is ever going to release another version of this frame, so get it while you can. If you're interested in more fixed gear freestyle stuff, please check out Ruff Bike Co. The new Glimmer frame set is incredible. I love this community, and I love that people are doing tricks on these weird bikes, and I want to keep it alive for many years to come. The rider-owned companies that are out there doing it for the love of this weird thing we call fixed gear means a ton to me. So I hope you will go and support them. Why am I getting emotional about this? Anyways, thank you all for watching. More videos to come soon. I will see you in the next one. Happy riding.